Hello everyone, this is HuskyStarcraft here, and I am back with some more StarCraft 2 action. This time it is going to be more games showcasing Taeja. Spawning up in the top left side, it is going to be his Korean Zerg opponent. Yet another TvZ out of him, and next Taeja is going to be up in the top right side. But guess what? His name is no longer next Taeja, it is Liquid Taeja. For those of you who did not see the most recent games on my channel, he is now officially a member of Team Liquid. And what's more is that if you're not a fan of this guy, well, I think he is going to make a lot of the doubters basically look like fools, because recently he just played in Code S for the GSL and has advanced to the round of 16. And guess what, guys? In that group that he was playing, he beat two previous GSL champions in one night. So if that isn't good enough for winning a GSL overall, then I don't know what is. He is going to be joining Liquid Hero in the round of 16 as well. I don't know who to cheer for between Taeja and Liquid Hero, as I absolutely love Liquid Hero. You guys know he's one of my favorite Protoss out there. And I was reading through a lot of the comments, and apparently I wasn't casting TvZ as much as people would like. So I figured, hey, why not cast one more TvZ, especially with the micro that we saw out of Liquid Taeja in that last game. If you guys did not see that, he was so far behind, but with some crazy Marine micro, he was able to hang on. I honestly, if I was in his situation, probably would have left the game quite a while ago, so I'm not quite sure what to expect in this game. But you remember me mentioning before, Taeja doesn't have too much experience in the GSL as far as doing exceptionally well, but now all of a sudden he's in the round of 16. Now getting to the round of 8 would be absolutely huge for him, and really the round of 4 is where you can just feel so badass, because you're just one step away from making it to the finals. Round of 4 would be an extremely good pickup for Liquid. Very good for Taeja as well, as there is a lot of money on the line, regardless of if you get first place or fourth place. Still quite a bit of money floating around in StarCraft 2. If you guys haven't looked at the websites where you can check how much players have made, there are players out there pulling in 6 figures quite easily. Quite a few, actually, I think, are 100,000 plus, which is just amazing. And it does look like Taeja going to be scouting out here. The timing is going to be spot on. He's going to see everything that's going on. And once again, going to be going for the Reaper Expand. This is so interesting to me, because I'm curious to see how well a Zergling early timing would work out. But then again, getting out one Reaper can clean up those Zerglings with ease. So maybe this is some StarCraft 2 metagaming we got going on here, with Taeja going for the Reapers almost every single time, and is going to be expanding on the back of this. Now the Reaper on this map can be super effective because it's such a short route to the Zerg player's main base. I would highly recommend this build versus Zerg, especially if you are in these spawn locations. But we will see how well this Reaper does. 2 Zerglings will be on the way. 1 drone dies almost immediately, and has to be careful here with the Reaper. He wants to keep it alive as long as he possibly can. You have to remember that he also needs to continue macroing on the back of this, and you're going to leave the Zerglings right here, so that the Reaper cannot jump up there. Will instead force him to run down and around, which will just buy the Zerg player a little bit more time to go ahead and make up those Zergling numbers if he needs them. Which right now, we do not see Zergling speed on the way from our Zerg player, but he does have enough drones and gas that he could begin that right away if he decides to, and I think that that would be a smart choice, given that there are Reapers on the map. And getting out that Zergling speed will indeed help deal with that. And there we go. Zergling speed is on the way. Is he going to pull off the drones? Has left 1 drone on gas, and the rest have gone to mining minerals. This poor queen will get blasted away eventually by these Reapers, unless the Zerglings can set up a perfect attack here. But I don't know if they focus down the Zerglings, they will be able to one-shot them, considering that he does have those 2 Reapers out. And this can be so frustrating for Zerg. This is why we saw Terran players go for Reapers quite a while ago, and then they kind of nerfed the Reaper timing as far as, you know, being able to proxy those Reapers and things like that by making it so you need a supply depot before barracks. A lot of Terran players were upset about that, but then that means that they transitioned away from doing Reaper play. But it does look like Taeja wanting to bring it back, wanting to try and punish Zergs who macro too hard. And how many workers did he kill? He did manage to kill 2 workers right there, a total of 3 workers overall. He is behind in supply, but that's to kind of be expected. Zerg do have to make out a lot of queens, which take up some pretty quick supply. Plus, Taeja did decide to expand here. So that means that, you know, most of the supply he's using is SCVs, which only take up that 1 supply, and he is going to be completing a wall in here with his engineering bay. What does his opponent have going on here? Well, his expansion is quite heavily saturated right there, and his main base pretty saturated as well. So is he going to take a third base? Is he going to throw down multiple geysers? Well, he does have the 2 geysers on the way. The Reapers need to be careful there. Good micro by Taeja to keep them alive while killing off yet another Zergling. And can he manage to do it? He does manage to get this round on one of them. The other Reaper on the high ground will most likely stay up there, at least for now, because he needs to be careful flying that away. I guess if he wants to jump down and then retreat, he would be able to pull that one off. But the Zerglings in the center of the map are going to give our Zerg player the confidence that he needs to go ahead and macro up here. So he's making big waves of drones. He's also working on getting out his lair tech. Now, sometime within the next 1 to 2 minutes, I'm assuming our Zerg player is going to expand, because he didn't get out a Spire ridiculously early or anything like that, like you would see off of 2-base Muta. And there goes down the macro hatch, which is kind of the bare minimum that he does need to do now. And is he going to throw down the Spire? That is what I'm curious to see once this lair is done. He does have Banelings on the way, which Banelings do complement Mutalisks quite well, as the Marines are trying to micro away from everything. A lot of times they will get blown up by those Banelings, and indeed the Spire is going to go down. Currently 2-base Muta, which is something that I have seen a lot of Koreans do. They really like this style. It does rely on micro quite a bit. Speaking of micro, we have some Creep Tumor micro going on. Creep spread out towards the center of the map by our Zerg player. And one thing about this map is you always want to try and go all 3 routes if possible. And what I mean by that, we can go right through the middle, the top, and the bottom. The reason that's important is because this is the only thing in the way of getting a complete surround on your opponent in the center of the map if you time everything out perfectly. So that is definitely a good play here by our Zerg player. We do have no upgrades for Taeja. He does have the +1 attack on the way, but he is going to move out with a lot of Marines. Is he going to expand on this? It does not look like it. It looks like he is just going to go for it, and that might prove to be quite difficult for the Zerg player to hold off. Have you ever realized that the M's on here look like the Monster energy drink logo on their shields? I guess they are sponsored by Monster. It is the little symbol that you can pick there. It totally looks like Monster Energy. Does cancel, I believe, the Creep Tumors so that he can rebuild them back here. And this is most likely when the scan is going to go down. A Zerg player is usually not going to try and crush this, but also a Terran player usually doesn't send out this much, although he is splitting up his Marines quite well. Oh my goodness, these Creep Tumors are about to get completely annihilated. Here comes the scan. Is the Zerg going to be able to hold this off? And there's the scan. Look at that. Never have I seen so many Creep Tumors die immediately. It does look like that's going to make the Zerg player really, really angry. And the Banelings will get focused down right away. I don't think a single Baneling is going to hit. A couple of Marines do get taken out, but the amount of Creep Tumors he killed off and the units lost is almost identical. That was absolutely worth it. Now he's got to drop and abuse this high ground location, taking out the Overlord that's in range. And these Marines, the +1 attack is done. And remember, they can load up inside those medevacs, and they will, I believe. 1 or 2 Marines does go down, though. So Taeja is extending himself outwards quite a bit. And the Mutalisks are here to shoot down the medevacs. He does need to unload them right now. Tries to make it to the high ground to do as much damage as he possibly can. And he will do just a little bit of damage to those Mutas. But overall, Taeja overstayed his welcome. I don't think he was expecting the Mutalisks to be out at that timing, but indeed they were able to clean that up. So even though the Zerg player lost the battle in the center, he is overall going to be winning on the units lost, killing off that Reaper as well. Plus, he is going to force Taeja to throw down some missile turrets, which he does not have in position just yet. So he is going to be a little bit vulnerable here. Needs to be careful with the Mutas. And Taeja, you got to remember, he does have 4 reactors here. So if these go undefended, there's even one right there, 5 reactors. So he can make a lot of Marines, but that also means that he is very vulnerable to Mutalisks in his base while he is out of position, because he can focus down the reactors and then immediately cut his production in half, which is not a good situation to be in. The Mutalisks not going to be able to kill out this command center, I don't think. Although he is kind of flying it at a weird angle, but that does mean our Zerg player knows that Taeja's looking for a third base. He is securing his own third base right here, and you can see that a lot of drones are going to be at this location. 74 drones to 63 workers. You want to try and get around 80 workers, as I would say any race. 80 is going to be a pretty solid number in most situations, and that is exactly what both these players are attempting to do. Taeja is making a lot of SCVs, so continuing that production 2 at a time. Could very well make 3 at a time, and he is. The +1/+1 is done, which means +2/+2 is going to be followed up right away here. Our Zerg player needs to make as many units as he can. He's going to decide to go for it. I don't know if this is the right choice, but he is indeed going to way overextend into the center. Thankfully for him, he did not lose those Banelings. That's going to be the important factor in this upcoming battle. And we do need to see more upgrades for these units. We do have the +1 attack for not only the ground melee, but also for air units. And a very interesting creep spread up here. I guess he went up this route and then had nowhere else to go. And where did he place that? He's going to work his way back down there. And needs to be careful with the mutas, though. Does end up losing one. And he is going to be flying into the main base right here. And is he going to be able to do that much damage? Well, there is the one turret there. The SCVs can't really get a good surround to repair it, as the positioning was not the best. The Marines will be able to hold this off. For now, though, it's really this army in the middle of the map that's making me a little bit nervous for Taeja, because if our Zerg player gets a huge swell of Zerglings, then it could be all over. We do have the +1 armor on the way from mutas, going to be killing off a couple of the SCVs, and they are grouped up quite heavily here. So some nice harassment by our Zerg player. He's killing so many SCVs here. Taeja losing 19 workers, now 20. But it looks like he is going to go for it in the center of the map. Our Zerg player trying to multitask as best he can. And can he get out any different tech units here by the time this attack happens? I don't know. It does look like a couple Overlords may go down. And the Mutalisks are now attacking the main base, killing off lots and lots of SCVs. Taeja really needs to pull it together if he wants to keep his economy going. Although the Mutalisks do decide to stay and attack those 2-2 Marines. I guess currently right now they're 2-1. Soon to be 2-2 though. And there we go, the Mutalisks once again do flock away. Now at this stage of the game, a Zerg player has to think, do I switch tech or go for it? It looks like he is going to go for it, running all the way through the center. 178 supply to 150. Can Taeja manage to do it? He's microing further and further back, trying to split up his Marines as best he possibly can. And the Baneling's not able to get in the best hits, but these Marines having a terrifying time here trying to hold off this attack. It does look like the expansion is going to fall, but this is a lot of Marines. Can he micro them around? Once again, trying to split them up. Not able to avoid those Banelings, though, but a seemingly endless stream of Marines are coming down here because of those massive amounts of reactors. It is 97 supply to 140, though, for our Zerg player. What is that Queen doing there? She gets completely obliterated, and the unit count, 36 SCVs to a lot of workers for our Zerg player. Look at this, 50 workers killed by our Zerg player. Absolutely outstanding. Taeja in a complete world of hurt. I don't know how he's going to come back from this one. He does have an upgrade advantage, though, with the 2-2. Our Zerg player scrambling to try and get enough units out to defend against this. I think he does have it, though. He does have 1-1 attack and armor as well, so that means those Banelings going to be doing additional damage versus the Marines. Taeja, I don't know, don't count him out yet, but he did take severe losses there. I think most players would have lost the game by now, but we'll see exactly how this goes. He cannot afford to lose the SCVs. You can see him trying to save them immediately. Still ends up losing one, though, and could go for some supply depots here, or the engineering bay would be a nice pickup. If he can kill it off with that +3, that would be huge. He knows it. He wants it. Can he actually kill it off, though? The Marines are going to go down. We do see a big push in the center of the map. I'm really curious on this engineering bay, so I'm going to keep it selected, but here comes the push forward, and the engineering bay does go down, so no +3 for Taeja, even though that was dangerously close to completing for our Zerg player, and he does have about a 60 supply lead, but can he hang on to it? It looks like so far the answer is yes. The Mutants in the main base, though, taking a lot of damage. He needs to back him out as the Marines do show up. The armory has been destroyed. That means he will have to rebuild that in order to get those upgrades. We do see a drop up here, but it does evacuate on out of there. The Mutalisks going to try and kill it off. The medevac barely dropping in the correct position here. So our Zerg player, man, he is giving Taeja a run for his money, but Taeja's positioning is outstanding with the siege tanks and the Marines. This is his last-ditch effort, as the expansion over here has been completely taken out as well. Every single SCV getting annihilated. 58 workers have been killed off, now 60. And the drones, no, you don't want to engage here. These Marines will be able to kill off all of these drones, although I guess they have done too many drugs. Remember, guys, don't do drugs, as it does make you vulnerable to drone attacks. Actually seeing those Marines get killed by the drones was absolutely huge. At the same time, he is trying to bust down the ramp. Can Taeja hold here? He does have quite a few Marines, but this is so many Mutalisks. I don't even think his micro can save him at this point. Completely stuck on these 3 bases, but that's not going to stop him from producing 8 Marines at a time. Well, our Zerg player, man, is able to re-macro on the back of this. Yes, he did lose some workers, but considering he has killed 61, then Taeja going to be in such great shape here. And, or no, not Taeja, excuse me, our Zerg player in great shape. The siege tanks do have +1. The armory died before the +2 was done. But siege tanks going to still be very effective with splash damage versus those lings. Just got to be careful, because siege tanks not in siege mode are just going to do absolutely nothing versus the cost efficiency of the Zergling. But right now we do see a lot of Mutalisks now on the field. for our Zerg player. No surprise, though. He also found a weakness in Taeja right now in that most of his army is down here, so if he can attack a different location, he should be in okay shape. But the +2, +3 nearly done. Of course, that +3 attack is going to have to be restarted. We do have the +2 attack for siege tanks on the way. Our Zerg is at 2 attack, 1 armor, which at this time in the game you would really expect to be seeing more. But he is doing a good job of taking these bases. Could potentially go for a 5th base as well here. One thing he does have to watch out for, though, is just the fact that the Marines can be so cost effective. If he doesn't watch his Mutalisk, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. Does find a medevac here to clean up, and that is indeed going to get cleaned out. And the Marines do stem forward. Taeja chasing these Mutalisks all over the field. So even though he is losing a medevac here and there, he has managed to set up in the center of the map. I feel like our Zerg player could just go for it right now and kill off this entire army. He may not realize just how vulnerable Taeja is right now in the center of the map. He's kind of a sitting duck here. And unless he attacks before the siege tanks go, though, it's not going to be that cost effective for our Zerg player. But he is maxed out now with the 200 supply. And Taeja leapfrogging forward. This is probably the worst time for him to go. That is so many Mutalisks. Oh my god. And it does look like, here we go, where the Mutas at. Need to be careful of those Thors. As, yeah, he decides not to engage right there. A very tense moment for both players, but you got to remember that every second that goes by, Taeja is slowly getting back in this game. And what I mean by that is, since our Zerg player is maxed out, he can't make any more stuff, which means that Taeja can still make stuff, which makes the lead of the Zerg player substantially less, although he is working on lowering that supply over and over again. Could even kill off this command center. I don't think there's a reason to. Killing off the armory would be nice. That +2 attack would help in this push a great deal, especially for the Thors and the tanks as well, of course. But here we go. Can he do it? He needs to get some good Banelings hits here. The positioning of Taeja is phenomenal, but I don't even know if this Thor is going to survive. Somehow Taeja is hanging on. Our Zerg player now at about a 40 supply lead. And the Mutalisk, did he lose a lot of these during that? I can't imagine how he would have. Taeja may be able to do the impossible here, but for now the Zerg player is still rolling in some Banelings, has taken out those siege tanks, and what is happening here is Taeja actually pushing out into the center of the map. His 3rd base way oversaturated, but he really doesn't have anywhere else to mine. How is the income looking for both of these players? Outstandingly good for our Zerg. Uh-oh, these drones need to get out of there. And look at how well both these players are macroing, keeping their resources under 100, under 50 a lot of the time. But Taeja is going to be moving out here and busting up the ramp. Where are the Zerg units? This Baneling, no, does not get a massive hit. And I don't know what's happening here, but pure Mutalist versus pure Marine means that the Marines will indeed win. We need to see some Baneling landmines is what we need. But right now the Zerg player is just streaming these units in one by one, not able to regroup here. And the Marines are now on the ramp, so there's not much room to micro. But the siege tank is in a beautiful position. Still a big supply lead for our Zerg, but those Banelings not doing what they need to. And uh-oh, it's the situation we've seen Idra in before, where it's just pure Muta versus Marines with the 2 attack, 3 armor. Is Taeja actually going to win this? This is ridiculous. I thought for sure this Zerg player had this game completely on lock and key, but evidently not, as he is trying to rebuild as best he can. We are 25 minutes into this game. I think this shows you the importance of upgrade in this matchup, and really in every matchup. And some long distance mining going on, and there's the command center right there having to land away from the creep. Does our Zerg player have any tech that is not currently destroyed? Does have the infestors, and he was able to get out 4 infestors before that dies. Does need to remake a spawning pool, though. And even though Taeja's mining on a singular base, which is long distance mines, but since our Zerg player has no tech, he is going to be in a lot of trouble. He's trying to hold on as long as he can, but the infestors I do not believe have pathogen glands. Yes, they do. He can actually fungal here. Can he get the good fungal, though? He really needs a fungal on these Marines, and he's going to go for it. Does get 1 fungal, and the second fungal right there to that big group of Marines. But the Mutalists are taking so much damage, he needs to back out and let the fungal do their thing. And indeed, he's not. Oh, there's so few Marines left. 3 Marines, but they all have their own personal medevac army to heal them. That 1 Marine trying to hang on as long as he possibly can. And this game is going to continue as the Mutalists, if they kill off these medevacs, that's going to really hurt Taeja, because he cannot afford to reproduce these at the rate that he would like. And he's still long distance mining right here with this command center, but he has so many SCVs he doesn't even need to lift it off. Oh my goodness, look at the units tab here. 26 Marines to 14 Mutas. Not a single Zergling on the field. 26 are on the way though. And still really preventing that +3 attack from finishing has really helped out the Zerg player here. Another infestation pit is on the way, and he would love to get out some more infestors here. I don't think he has any infestors remaining, but this could be the last push, the last attack for Taeja, as he does not have a whole lot of money left. Here comes the drones down to try to engage this. It looks like the drones will be absorbing some of the damage. The siege tanks, though, will be killing off the Marines here if he's not careful. No, it does go down. Taeja trying to evacuate with what few units he has remaining, and a few units indeed. Although he does still have 29 Marines overall, this is still anybody's game. Taeja has indeed lifted this off. He's got to be flying down here as well. Look at this, has relocated his base 3 different times and has landed now down in the bottom right side. Needs to transfer over a bunch of those workers. He has. A nice little group of them are going to begin mining, but I don't know. Our Zerg player's got to get some Baneling hits off. I don't think he even has a Baneling nest, though. And this is not looking good for our Zerg player. He does have quite a few mutas, but they're just not what he needs here. He could, no, I guess he can't attack from the high ground because the medevacs will spot the mutas. I don't know, man. Taeja's scanning. He's got to like what he sees, and soon it's going to be a bunch of dead drones. And considering we never saw any more infestors and no more banelings, there's no way to deal with these Marines in a cost-effective way. It looks like he's going to go for it with the drones. The Muta's taking so much damage, actually focus firing them down there, popping left and right, which means that the drones are just going to be in the meat grinder. And can Taeja actually do this? What is going on with this game? I do not understand StarCraft 2 anymore, and has left the game. Indeed, this game, oh my god. I cannot believe that, and this is why Taeja currently defeating 2 former GSL champions. I believe it was like, what, last night, a couple of days ago, and now is in the round of 16 of the GSL. Wow. Absolutely outstanding play by Taeja. I cannot believe that he managed to win this game. I thought for sure 100% that he lost, and he did indeed not lose. I am speechless. This is one of my favorite StarCraft 2 games that I've cast in a long, long time. Definitely share this one with your friends. Oh my god, what a good TvZ. So I kind of think it goes without saying. Hope you guys enjoy it, and of course I'll see you guys next time. Oh my god, that game was so good. Oh, it was so good. I don't even know if anyone's still watching, but where was it that those Mutalisks... I don't even remember where it was because this game was so long, 30 minutes long. But the Mutas, man, were pretty good by our Zerg player. And I'm kind of curious on the upgrades right at the end. I'm in like normal talking mode right now. I'm not even shoutcasting, brah. He does have 2 attack, 1 armor. But the 2-3 right there, upgrades are so important. So very important. Anyways, bye-bye.